Khubor ka Batesi TV. Lawan ra siya da ka Orange Nissan Loom Sopo near Fire Brigade Shillong. Ringkat bat ka net footage. Ordar mapi. Minwan ra mangi hakerdog ying jongpi.
Kaseng Kongres kabasyong hakalyang persya jong kiyeng dorbar thawaan jong ke jilla haka artarik ubnai jilliu arajar arpuway kala kenno baka sorkar jilla kampat shimlala ban penbiang pura yaki jing ai jing sumar yaki bre ki bali bit yaki jing pang COVID-19 kum baka dai ban long u Dr. Mukul sangma ubalong nongyelam jong kaliang persya hapo ka yeng dorbar thawaan ka jilla habaya keren mat kilat pathai khubor hadin ka jingjurip ya ki corona care centers ki badan hapo ka nongba shillong uloong baka jingpen kerek kampat long setia ka ba ihun bad hakaju kapor ula ongru baka sorkar kaladai ban pen kerek marmar ikilat ai jing sumar kamtam sheki nong shong shnong ki badang kamrit karta lada jia baka klam jingpang COVID-19 kan wan lin shop sahakasin kabalai yagani ka jilla Meghalaya.
We are also trying to know from the team, the whole frontline teams led by the here in respect of Civil Hospital Shillong, led by the superintendent of the Civil Hospital, how they are dealing with the cases and what is the trend. Now the trend is that when you look at the death count, which is alarmingly high, which is quite disturbing, we shouldn't have lost so many precious lives, keeping in mind the proportion of the death count to the number of positive cases. Now, why is this? We need to actually understand so that we can prevent it. And when I looked at the number of those fatality, most of the cases where the patient has succumbed to the disease happens to be such that it has happened maybe on the same day of the patients having been brought to the hospital, or within 2 days, or within 3 days, or within 4 days of having been brought to the hospital for treatment. That means the patients are being brought only after the progression of disease has taken substantial toll on the patient. So the team here are unable to resuscitate and cure the patient, resulting in loss of precious lives. This is a matter of concern. Now, why this is happening? It can be because we did not have enough institutionalized quarantine centers, enough corona care centers, and another part is because of the home isolation strategy, wherein the patient and the patient parties are not being able to probably communicate properly or are not communicating properly. It can be either they are not willing to share all the information or they are not being able to share the information to get the correct advice as to when they should be bringing the patient to the hospital. So this is one area which we have discussed. The concerned frontline workers under the command of the DHS and the respective deputy commissioners, I hope they will address these issues. As I have said, there is a robust disease surveillance system. What will be required is to only further activate the existing disease surveillance system and also further strengthen the whole system. In addition to that, what is very important is that, see, we have all gone through the record of the past pandemics that has confronted the mankind in the preceding centuries. The behavior, the way it has taken the whole mankind by surprise, element of surprise associated with every pandemic. From that behavior and those informations, we can only presume and assume and be apprehensive of the third surge, the third wave. Now, how the third wave will ultimately manifest itself is always going to be something which should be kept in mind, and we should always be prepared for element of surprise, and therefore we should be always prepared to deal with the chances of any third wave coming, and which bracket of the age group will be the likely victim of the manifestation of that third wave of this COVID-19 disease. and how we should be prepared. Therefore, since preparation is happening now, it is only appropriate that this whole preparation is designed to deal with the third wave. Let us be very frank. Preparation are still on, okay, not completed. So it is only therefore appropriate to look at how we can appropriately align the design and integrate all those interventions that is required to deal with the third wave, where we apprehend the younger group of our population to be the likely vulnerable group. With the kind of inputs that we are receiving from other parts of the country and other parts of the world. That's the reason why we are also demanding that there must be aggressive vaccination. The vaccination which must be universal vaccination. You see, the country has already had this wealth of experience in as far as vaccination of the targeted population across the nation is concerned. We have demonstrated as a nation for the whole world that India is capable of inoculating vaccines to the whole population. We have a very robust system put in place. And since our vaccine that is being used do not have the challenge of such a expensive cold chain, it is not that tough to have an universal vaccination on time. Therefore, we are urging both the state government and the union government to aggressively put in place all the measures to complete universal vaccination, free of cost. It's a notified disaster. COVID-19 is a notified disaster. Therefore, prevention of the recurrence of this must be assumed upon themselves as government as per the responsibility vested upon the authorities by the Disaster Management Act 2005. Mitigation, prevention. These are integral part of our approach to deal with any disaster. Therefore, vaccination must be there on time. We will still talk to the government, will still put pressure as maybe felt needed to ensure that this happens.